for some of the bullcrap he did. And he wasn't going to keep dying on that stake when he had other coals in the fire. But believe me, if Daniel Snyder, if the owner of Cleveland, financially thought this was a fight worth winning, they'd keep the names. If there wasn't something in it for them in the long run, they'd keep the names, because billionaires do not become billionaires for being sensitive to other people unless they can stand on a mountain, wave a flag, show how they've changed, show how progressive they are, and at the end of the day, still get something for it. So as much as we want to say, this may be the right thing to do, remember, Daniel Snyder fought that forever till he got in that hot cooker. And then all of a sudden, he gave in. Something else is happening in Cleveland for an owner to just give in, because Ed, there wasn't the same outlash with the Cleveland Indians name as there was with the Washington Redskins. So for him to make that change, there's something else brewing. They don't just do that for the sake of doing that.
And Paul, when Mr. Snyder saw that all those advertisers and everybody that put money into the Washington football franchise with when FedEx was threatening to pull the name off the stadium, and all these other major corporations that spend millions and millions of dollars with the Washington football team, when he saw that they were threatening to pull their sponsorships out, oh yeah, that spoke volumes to Mr. Snyder and what he had to do. He was forced to do that. Like you said, Paul, he was going to stick with Redskins no matter what until those sponsors started threatening. He saw all the possibilities of all that money just going down the drain. He said, okay. You guys are speaking my language now. We're talking about money right here. We're talking about me in my pockets. I'm a billionaire. I don't want to lose money. Like Paul said, billionaires are in business to make even more money to stay billionaires. You don't want to lose millions and millions of dollars just over a name. So so that forced Dan Snyder, that forced his hand to make them the Washington football team, and whatever they come up with an idea, maybe for the season after next, that's what they come up with. But he had his hand was forced, Joe and Paul, by the sponsors and the people that spend millions and millions of dollars on that football team.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what it all comes down to. Yes, it is a business, and the fans, the audience, the sponsors, and maybe even the league. When it comes down to it, in the end, you're going to oblige if you're having any type of blowback or pushback. It's a new day.
It's a new day, a new age with the social movement, and things are changing right now. People are not standing for this kind of stuff anymore.
And you know what, though? I will say this.
Not.
You got to be careful with the changes, too. With some are obvious. Some things you got to be careful with how much you change, because then it becomes, will pretty soon be the Phoenix Flowers versus the Cleveland Dandelions. So you got to be careful that you don't. You got to also listen to people when they tell you that things to them are not negative. So if Kansas City, if the Native Americans say, hey, look, we're not offended by the name of the Chiefs, and I'm just choosing a what if, then a group can't come in and say, but it's offensive. Well, but if they're telling you it's not, then leave it alone. So we gotta walk that fine line, listening to the people that are being offended, listening to them, not just randomly saying, oh, well, we feel that this is wrong. So I think you got that fine line you got to watch out for.
Yes, definitely a fine line. We're running short on time, and I don't want to leave out the NFL and talk a little bit about what's happened this last week. We're about two more games away from wrapping up the NFL season and going into the playoffs. PLR rocking his Bears shirt over here.
Hey, they're one game out of the playoff hunt, Joe. They're one game behind the Cardinals.
It's getting very, very close with those teams, Cardinals, Bears, and some others. But let's go ahead and dive in real quick with the Arizona Cardinals and what we saw Sunday against the Eagles. It was a little bit of a tough game to watch, I'm not going to lie, because there was a moment in there where I thought that the Cardinals were going to be the Cardinals that we see and lose control of that game. And, it was a must win for them. This was a must win game if they want to still be in contention for the playoffs, even if it's a wild card entry there. So they were able to pull that off. They did overcome the Eagles 33-26, but they did have to fight. They did have to put up a fight to come up with that win. DeAndre Hopkins, my goodness, he was phenomenal, amazing as always. We saw that fake punt, the throw to go ahead and convert it to first down. They weren't able to convert that into a touchdown, but we did see some changes with the Cardinals, with Murray. So that did help them come out with the win. So PLR, give me your thoughts, your take on the game against the Eagles with the Cardinals.
Well, first, I want to say that doggone Jalen Hurts, man, he just went and stole Carson Wentz's job. So let me say that first. The Cardinals are a good football team. I think the one thing they have to continue to do is to adapt to what's around them and adapt to the plays and call plays that are happening now. Sometimes Cliff, I think, falls in love with what he wants to do instead of what he should do. But Kyler's so talented. And DeAndre Hopkins, man, that guy's catch radius, especially on that sideline touchdown pass and before that sideline go route, his hands are just ridiculous. Here's something, let's just put it like this. And Ed, you know this probably better than Joe and I. When was the last time the Cardinals could say they control their own playoff destiny? They went out, they're in. Doesn't matter what the Bears do. It doesn't matter what anyone else do.
5 years ago.
They went out. They're in. So this team just has to be focused on what they need to do. And they kind of luck out because is it the Rams next week or the week after?
San Francisco on Saturday, then the Rams the week after.
So the Rams may have their seedings already set by the time the Cardinals play them. So they may not have as much to play for. And San Francisco's in disarray. So they have to just hold serve. But, man, I like the way this team is going. That doggone Kyler Murray, man. I've said it since before the season started. That dude's a problem. He's a problem. So I know I talk a lot of offense with the Cardinals, but their defense is standing up. I thought it was hard yesterday because there's not a ton of tape on Jalen Hurts. I kind of thought maybe they should have just ran the scout team off of what Kyler does, because sometimes Jalen looked like Kyler back there. But
yeah.
That was just a fun game, and just thought the team that had it last would end up winning. And fortunately for the Cardinals, it didn't come down to that.
What a great game that was yesterday. I mean, the Cardinals went up 16-0 after the first quarter. Then give credit to the Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles. They rallied back, outscored the Cardinals 26-10 after that. And then they had to withstand a furious rally. The Cardinals, Murray to DeAndre Hopkins, that crazy catch you talked about in the corner of the end zone, Paul, where he was kind of fumbling the ball around, but came out with it one-handed with his right hand. What a phenomenal catch. That kid is inhuman. I'm telling you, he's from a different atmosphere. He's from a different planet. The boy just catches balls, leads the league in receiving yards, 169 on Sunday, a touchdown, a great 45-yard catch he made, a la reminiscent of what he did against the Buffalo Bills, pretty close to it. Caught the ball over in between two defenders. Great catch. Kyler Murray, up and down day. Yeah, he threw for a career high 406 yards and 3 touchdowns, but it was kind of an uneven performance for me. Only 9 incompletions. That's the great thing. But throwing an interception, fumbling the ball twice, losing one of them. DeAndre Hopkins fumbling the ball away. Them going 3 for 10 on third downs. Them having 9 penalties. There's a lot of things they need to clean up if they want to make the playoffs and actually make a deep run in the playoffs. Yeah, it was great that they won and they rallied back over the Eagles and beat a really game Jalen Hurts Philadelphia Eagles team. But there's a lot of things that they have to clean up if they want to be able to make the playoffs and potentially come out of the NFC and be in Tampa in February representing the National Football Conference. There's a lot of things they need to work on. But defensively, like you said, Paul, I love the way Dennis Gardeck plays. The kid plays with his hair is on fire the entire time. All he does is just run with abandon and just super energy. I love the way he played. Zach Allen played great on Sunday, 11 tackles. He had a sack. So the defense played really well against Jalen Hurts, but there's a lot of different things they got to go back to the lab and watch some film and get some good practices in this week, because although San Francisco, like you said, Paul, is in disarray, they come off a bad loss to the Dallas Cowboys at AT&T Stadium on Sunday. They're still going to be game. It's a division rivalry game, and we all know the 49ers play well at State Farm Stadium. So I'm not going to take the San Francisco 49ers for granted at all on Saturday. Even though they're a broken football team, they could potentially come in here and knock off the Cardinals, because that's what the San Francisco 49ers do. It's a division game. Crazy things have happened. So they've got a lot of work to do, the Arizona Cardinals do, before Saturday's game. I'm pleased with the win, but it's not a complete performance for me.
But Ed, aren't we being a little bit unfair to the Cardinals right now? And I'll say this: I know the Rams just lost to the Jets, which is comical, but we're putting the Cardinals in a spot that we shouldn't yet. This is a team that's missed the playoffs a lot, a team that had a new head coach that came from college that's learning. And yeah, they've had some up and down performances, but isn't that who they are right now? And to be in the driver's seat, I think if before the season started in a division with the Rams, the Niners, Seattle, and we said this is a team going into the final 2 weeks of the year will control their own destiny in getting to the playoffs, I think we take that. I think sometimes in the media in Arizona, I think we get too hard on teams. And you know me, I'm not a softie by any stretch, but you have a second-year coach, a second-year quarterback, a new wide receiver playing in the COVID era, and here's a team that against Seattle, they beat them. They beat Buffalo. They beat some real good teams. And I think everything we do when we see them play a Buffalo or a Seattle, we say, oh, man, this team is ready. But they're not ready. They're a team that's now sometimes beating good teams, but then sometimes they still lay an egg, because I don't think they're there just yet. So I honestly think we're going to have some ups and downs. The difference is last year when we had ups and downs, we lost. This year when we have ups and downs, we're usually pulling them through. So I think this team is right where they should be in terms of scheduling, like losing record, winning record, playoffs, and then possible championship. So I think in that order, they're okay. But I don't know, because I was a person that did that. When they went on that winning streak, I'm like, yeah, see, they're here. Then they go on a losing streak, and it's like, what the hell is wrong with them? And then I have to reel myself in and go, well, nothing. They're still young. A head coach still learning how to coach in the NFL, still learning how to make adjustments. Maybe they are where they should be. So I think they get in. I don't think they end up in Florida. Look, the only way they end up in Florida is because it's wide open and everybody can go there and do whatever the heck they want. But we know that they ain't coming out for the Super Bowl. That's you being super nice. But they ain't going to make the Super Bowl this year. They're not ready yet.
Yeah, but Paul, I will take this over the 2018 Arizona Cardinals under Steve Wilkes. I'll take this over a 3-13 debacle that was that year. Absolutely.
Why you kicking dirt on that man?
It's the truth, isn't it?
It really is. You know what? I take this team over last year's team because they're learning how to win. And Ed, you know this, and Joe, you know this. Cardinals would have lost that game last year. Cardinals would have lost that game in 2018. So they're definitely learning how to get better. And to me, it's almost fun watching a team come of age and mature and do better. It's a fun team to watch. Kyler Murray can fumble 30 times. Boy, but when he breaks one, and when he lets that ball go, that is a pretty ball that he throws.
It is.
Ooh, that's a pretty ball he throws.
He is a thrilling kid to watch. Oh my gosh!
I want to know what's up with your Philly team, Ed. How come Carson Wentz can't keep his job? Now I want to ask you that. What's wrong with Philadelphia, Ed? What's wrong with Carson Wentz?
Paul, look at the tape. That's all you need to see from Carson Wentz. I don't know what in the world happened to that kid, but he's a shell of his former self. For him to let Jalen Hurts is a monster. The Sooner, that's a bad boy, and we saw it yesterday. Jalen Hurts came in and swooped in, beat the New Orleans Saints last Sunday, and came close to beating the Cardinals this past Sunday. Well, if you let a rookie come in and claim your job, then pack your bags, sell your house in Philadelphia, and move on to another city. There'll be other teams that will want him for clearly. He's still a good quarterback. He just ran his course in Philadelphia under Doug Peterson. that situation has run its course. It's time for him to move on.
How come Doug Peterson won't name Jalen Hurts the quarterback?
Did he not?
I'm sorry, Joe. No, he said he had to wait. I didn't look at the press conference. We're in our